Chapter 1. John the Landlord. I'm Will Stanford. My friend Wade Williams and I met at the University of Minnesota in an English class the summer before the first year of college and decided to become roommates. Both Wade and I graduated with degrees, mine in business and Wade in political science. Wade had intended to go to law school but was worn out from undergrad and decided to work a few years first. I majored in accounting and easily found a decent-paying job, while Wade had no skills, so was hired as a sales rep at a startup audit company in Chicago. Since Wade and I both found jobs in Chicago, we continued to be roommates together, renting a small apartment in a trendy part of town called Lincoln Park. We spend our nights and weekends playing video games. Recently, we started talking about what it might be like to date someone. When we first got to Chicago, Wade thought he might try to ask someone out from work. Even though he had never had a real date, he had seen a lot of movies and knew people who had, so he thought he would give it a try. After making in-person client calls all day, Wade returned to the office around 4:30 p.m. There's a woman there who works in accounting named Taylor that he wanted to ask out. He walked back to her office and peeked in the door, seeing her head down and busily typing. She looked up when he was at the door and said, "Can I help you?" Wade said, "I was wondering if you would like to go out Saturday night." Taylor looked shocked and said, "And you are?" "Wade Williams from sales," he replied. She squinted her eyes and said, "Maybe if I knew who you were, but I'm busy right now. Can we talk about this later?" "No problem," Wade replied, then left and gave up. He came home and told me about it. I used to like the girl that grew up next door to me. We used to hang out up until the 5th grade, when she drifted away. We never had a date, a kiss, or even held hands. I asked a few girls out in college, but only the ones I didn't really like. I was too shy to ask out the girls I really wanted. I've been experimenting with online dating, but I haven't gotten any dates from it, so I feel like giving up. After a few weeks of playing video games on weekends and not going out much, John the Landlord called and invited us to come upstairs for a drink. We both looked at each other, and since we were bored, we decided to go on up. John was a 58-year-old man that owned the building and lived on the top floor. He helped us move in, and we were both surprised that a man his age could help move furniture up 2 flights of stairs. In fact, he was in decent shape, with a full head of hair. Wade didn't believe that John was his real name. He thought it must have been some old name like Virgil or Alden, and he changed it so as not to sound old. It was around 10 p.m. on a spring Sunday night, where the weather was just perfect, with a slow, cool breeze. I knocked on the door, and John came slowly and finally unlocked 3 locks and opened the creaking door. "Come in," he said, and turned to walk toward a sliding glass door. To our surprise, there was a large outdoor deck with nice wood deck chairs and a view of the city. He offered us a beer, and we said yes. I looked around his apartment, and it was clearly a step above ours. Ours was kind of an old beat-up place you might expect to live in college, with 7 coats of paint on the wood trim. His had smooth walls as if only 1 coat of paint, modern trim, a tight weave wool carpet, modern European furniture, granite countertops, and a 2-story roof. Not to mention, it was huge. It looked like it must be a 3-bedroom plus an office. John asked, "How are you guys settling in?" Wade said, "Fine," and I nodded. "What did you guys do this weekend?" John continued. I said, "Played some video games and watched a Netflix series." "Both of you?" John asked. We both nodded. "There are thousands of people out there to meet, and you two stayed home and played video games?" We looked at each other and nodded simultaneously. "We just don't know anyone, or any girls," I said. "We're new in town and haven't met any guys or girls." "Do you think you're going to meet anyone playing video games?" John asked. "Well, sometimes we do. People who play against us in a group game," Wade said. "Video games can be great fun, and you learn a lot of skills playing them, but they were really designed for kids, like junior high or high school kids. Parents are happy to have their kids playing video games in junior high so they don't get into trouble, which is code for so they don't have any fun with girls. You guys have graduated college, right? I said, yes, but can I ask, what is junior high? 7th, 8th, or ninth grade. In case you haven't figured it out, the waiting is over. You are grown men now, no longer boys. Have either of you ever been engaged? No way, Wade said. Had a steady girlfriend for at least a few months, asked John. Not exactly. We did lots of group activities in high school and college, I said. Neither of us has ever had a real date, nor a girlfriend in high school or college, but we had friends who had. I always wondered how they met them, since I was afraid to ask a girl I actually liked on a date. I had a few of the fortnightly dance dates in high school, but those were usually setups made by my mother, and neither Wade nor I hung out with our dates the whole night. Mainly we just escorted them to the dance and later went to the after parties before taking them home. No romance there, just an escort in and out of the dance and parties. I occasionally asked out girls that I didn't particularly like, just too afraid to ask out the ones I did like. Afraid they would say no. Did you ever want to have a girlfriend? John asked. We both said yes. John said, there's an old saying that I think might apply here, and it goes, what are you waiting for? I had a friend who bought and sold cars while in college. Once he was selling an old Triumph TR4A, a British sports car. A woman came out to see it. She drove it, and then told him it was a nice car and that as soon as she sold her mobile home, she would be interested. It dawned on him that she would probably buy something else once she actually had the money from the sale. She was just living out a fantasy today. Up until now, you boys sound like you have been living out a fantasy in regards to women and dating, and probably not even taking a test drive like the woman with the mobile home did. But now you have graduated, you have jobs, so you have the money, same as if the woman had the cash from the sale of her mobile home when she really could buy. It's no longer a dream. You really can find someone and get into a relationship now. So what exactly are you waiting for? For the most part, women don't do the asking. It's up to you. They say that it takes men dating around 10 different women to find a girlfriend. Isn't it time you two get started? Yes, I would like a girlfriend, but I'm an accountant, not the kind of guy used to making sales. And I think you have to have a sales personality to ask a girl out. And besides, I wouldn't really know what to say or how to ask, I said. At least I haven't been too successful in the past. Wade said, well, I am in sales, and I sure don't know how to ask someone out. I tried a dating app once and asked a few girls out, but then I never heard from them again. Like, they never answered again. What did you say when you asked? John said. Wade said, I chatted with them for around 20 minutes, then asked if she would like to meet for coffee. No reply. This happened several times, and I figured it just didn't work. Just recently, I stopped by the office of a woman at work and asked her out for Saturday night, and it didn't work out. I see, John said. And how about you, Will? I have gone to a few bars with people from work and tried to talk to a girl sitting at a table, but she said she was there on a girls' night out with her friends. I gave her my business card and said maybe she would call me. I never heard from her. Great, John said sarcastically. Never hand out your business card and hope she will call. Never. I said, well, what do you recommend? It looks like you are by yourself, and inviting the two guys from downstairs for a beer. Do you have a girlfriend? I just felt sorry for you guys spending the best years of your single life playing video games on weekends in one of the best cities for romance in the world, John said. Has anyone ever told you that you make your career in your 20s? That's when you work your butt off to get into management or wherever you want to go. Well, the same is true for finding a woman to spend at least part of your life with. Everyone in their 20s is open to and looking for a mate of some sort, which means your chances of finding one are the highest during your 20s. But you have to be actively looking. About this time, a beautiful 40-something woman came out of the back room, straightening her belt. "John, don't forget we're going shopping tomorrow afternoon." "Hi, guys. You must be the new tenants." Then she left. Wade and I looked at each other and said without saying out loud, "Wow." "Who was that?" I asked. "She's Laura," he said. "I usually see her on Sundays." Wade said, "So she's your Sunday girl?" "Well, actually, I used to only see her every other Sunday, so I guess that name wouldn't apply," John replied. "Does that mean there's another girl for the next Sunday?" I asked. "There used to be. Deborah. She came the other Sundays," said John. Wade said, "Is there a Saturday girl? Or two? Or a Monday girl?" "I guess I've gotten you curious, haven't I?" John said. "What makes you think I could have more than two girlfriends when you two don't have any? Was I right? You don't have any?" We both nodded slowly. "By the way, Laura is my fiancée. We're going ring shopping tomorrow." We were impressed. John said, "You two, explain something to me. As I said a moment ago, most people see the prime of their dating life to be in their 20s, when most people are looking for a friend, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a mate, or a wife. Are you two not interested in meeting someone? And that's why you spend your dating time playing video games and watching TV?" We both said in unison, "We are interested." "Want some free advice from an old man?" John asked. Of course, we would have assumed his advice was old and outdated, since he is obviously old and outdated, if it weren't for Laura leaving the back room. We looked at each other, then at John, and we both slowly nodded at the same time. "Okay then. First, we need to analyze how you're spending your time, looking to see how you benefit," John said. "TV and video games are taking up your social time. They are mentally engaging and make you feel like you're at a party, but you are not actually interacting with real people. They take up huge amounts of your prime social time, like Saturday nights, but give you something different than social time in return." Wade said, "What do you mean?" "Can we agree that TV is not interactive? So, unless you are watching the news or a live show, you are usually just watching an old movie or show from the past. In fact, TV does not depend on any input from you at all, and works the same even if you don't pay attention to the storyline. Most movies and TV shows represent unusual situations, which is what makes them interesting. But it also means that what you learn from the show probably won't apply to people's normal lives. TV watching is the lowest form of social time." "What about video games? We like them," I asked. "Video games offer far more rewards than TV, since it is interactive, and you learn life skills from playing that can be used in both your social life and your career, if you choose to apply them. Scoring in the game leads to goal setting and you seeking to accomplish and achieve. They teach, when at first you don't succeed, try another tactic. They cause people to talk about how to overcome game obstacles with other friends, which creates camaraderie and human interaction. They give instant feedback on your performance, which leads people to enthusiastically want to keep perfecting their performance. These are all good traits to learn for business, for life, and for social life, if you choose to apply them.